If you're ready to become a great data analyst, the 5 skills I'll teach you in this video will help you really stand out. I've spent over a decade working as an analyst and hiring analysts, so I know all the things that hiring managers and analysts themselves are hoping for in their newest employee. If you want to really shine above all the other candidates, stay tuned to the end where I'll give you a bonus 6th tip that really sets you apart from everyone else. I'm Jen with the Career Force. We help smart, career-minded professionals stand out in today's job market. If you want all the best career advice, subscribe to this YouTube channel where we post new videos twice a week. The first skill you'll need are math or statistical skills. Whether you've got a degree or you've gone through training, you really need to have a solid foundation here. While there are lots of different programs you'll use as an analyst, at the end of the day, you need to understand the logic behind them. That's why you're being paid. Anyone can use a system, but you're really bringing the expertise of how it works behind the scenes. So have a solid foundation in regression analysis and predictive tools, and you can study these on your own. It's fantastic if you have a degree. It'll probably help you get a job faster, but you can also learn a lot of this online for free, or pick up an old statistics textbook and read that, practice what's in there. You'll grow your skills and really stand out in this area. The next skill you'll need as a data analyst or data scientist are some sort of programming skills. This is really going to range depending on what the exact position is, and certainly in a data science role, you'll need a lot more programming skills than in an analyst role. So here, look at all of the different options there are. There's SAS, which is used primarily in the medical industry and by a fair number of large companies, so that's a definite option. There's great online training. They have fantastic resources. This is a skill I actually taught myself for the most part when I first started as an analyst. So go out there, look at the free options that are there, and Google it. You'll find a lot of information. The other 2 popular programming languages are Python and R, and both of these should be fairly cheap or free for you to learn. Again, tons of resources online, so Google it, you'll find something. At the very least, practicing some SQL can definitely help. It shows you know how to talk in the programming languages, and you know how to take a problem, work through it, and at the end of it, come out with a result that provides some benefit. So any programming language is great. Tailor the language you're learning, especially if you're focused on a new one, based on the type of companies you want to be hired at. If you're going into the medical industry, definitely have SAS. With other industries, any of these are great, and you can probably find out which companies are using different systems that are out there, whether it's Python, R, SAS, or one of the many other options, just by doing a little checking on the company. Most of them get involved in conferences or write papers. They send people from their teams to the conferences or to write papers or speak on them. So do a little looking. You'll be able to find out the company that you want to get hired at, what they're using. The third skill you're going to need, and for me this may be the top skill that any analyst needs, is problem-solving skills. I can work with a new analyst who doesn't know a software or programming language. I can't work with an analyst who has all of the math background, but none of the practical application. In my view, 90% of analytics is knowing which question to ask. If you're asking the wrong question, you're probably going to find an answer, but it may not be helpful. So think about thinking through logically different problems that you encounter. You almost need to look at what solution are you going for, where you are, and what are the steps that you need to get there. So a lot of this is like doing a math proof. You take the things you know to get to the things that you don't know. So those math skills will come in handy, but overall, how do you go about solving problems? And the internet's a fantastic resource for this. I often turn to Google to help me answer questions when I just don't know what the next step to analyzing a thing is. And the beauty of knowing how you're going to solve the problem or knowing your approach is if you don't know how to program that specific thing, once you have something to look for, there's probably someone else that's faced that problem that you can already find the answer online, or you can go to one of the many forums and groups or different experts or the company themselves that puts out the software and ask them, how do I do this specific thing? I found people are extremely willing to help, and since a lot of us analysts really are kind of enjoying nerding out on the math side and the problem solving side, you'll definitely be able to find someone who wants to give you a hand. My fourth out of the top 5 skills for data analysts is data visualization. This is becoming more the expectation than the exception. It used to be relatively rare, or normal at least, to use Excel for visualization, and now it's really popular. Think about everything you see online. Tons of stuff is visual, and a lot of people that don't understand the data and the sciencey part of what you're talking about may understand a good visual. Actually, if you're doing a good job, they will understand a good visual. So the baseline to get started, if you don't have skills here, is use Excel. There are lots of different options here just in the native tool, or Google Sheets. You can try something like that and take some different data sets, start making different graphs, do bar charts, line charts, do combinations, see how simply that you can tell the story. It's really difficult to take a complicated topic and make it simple, and that's really what you're being asked to do when you visualize data. Beyond that, there are, again, plenty of free resources, and companies use all different sorts of versions. So you could learn Power BI. You can download that for free, and it's got some awesome features. Tableau's a great other resource that you can use. If you're really into programming, then you don't need any of these. You'll just be able to code visualizations, and that's great too. SAS, again, if you're working for a large company, they've got some fantastic tools, both with their SAS visual analytics and within some of the other tools that they have. So take some time learning how to visualize data. The way I like to look at it is, what would I do that would make my mom understand this? So my mom doesn't necessarily understand analytics. She's a smart lady, but I can talk to her and I can communicate information about topics that are really complicated in a clear way that she understands. And when you're in the business, chances are there's probably going to be some other analysts around, but you're going to be dealing with a lot of people that have a high level knowledge of the subject, especially as things go further up the chain. If you have things going up to CEO or C-level in general, they're going to have some idea of what's going on, but you need to really break it down, make it super clear for them to understand, one, what's going on, but two, what's the impact? What's the insight that they should take away? And great visualization does exactly that. It tells them what's the insight they need to know from the data and what the conclusion is that they should draw so that they can take smart, well-informed actions that affect the rest of the business. The fifth skill you'll need to really be an excellent analyst is communication skills. I think this is one of the top reasons why my career grew as fast as it did. So especially if you're looking to move into managerial roles or even higher level within a company, you need to know how to communicate. It's really not that much different than a data visualization, but in this case, I'm talking about not just the graphics, but also how do you talk with people? How well are you able to write and articulate what you need to say? This is super important. You need to be able to be clear with people. So work on your communication skills. Make sure you're able to break down technical information really simply and explain it. You can be the most fantastic technical programmer. You could be the most skilled person in the world. And if you can't communicate it, it's really going to hurt your career. Sure, we hear about the people that write apps and programs and make millions. Maybe you'll be that person, but for the average analyst, just being able to communicate well, and I say analyst, but really the average person, communication skills go a long way to helping you grow your career. Those are my top 5 areas for data analysts to have skills in. So which area do you need to focus on for continuing to grow in your career? Leave it in the comments below. I'm really curious which of these areas stands out to you. Now I'll give you my bonus tip, and this is the thing that will really make you stand out, especially if you're applying for a job and you're on par with other candidates, and that's know the industry. You can be amazing technically, you can have good communication skills, you can have great math skills, but knowing the industry makes you really valuable and saves a lot of training time for people. So you're more likely to be able to do effective analysis if you understand what's going on, know the competitors, know the type of work that's going on. If you're in the automotive industry, know how horsepower relates to torque or engine size. If you're in the software world, know how processing power relates to other factors. All of these things help you become much more effective as an analyst. What I found is when people don't know the industry, one, it takes them a while to be effective, but they also usually draw these conclusions that they're so proud of and they find so amazing and are completely meaningless to the business because they're connecting things that we already know are directly connected. So know the industry. This will really make you stand out, especially if you're going after a particular job or want to be in a particular industry in general. Let me tell you how I did this for my personal career. My first job, I was working in an automotive role with a diesel truck company. I knew absolutely nothing about these vehicles. When I got the call for the interview, the first thing I did was I talked to my uncle, who was a diesel truck mechanic, and I went to the library, I started Googling. I wanted to at least know the basics. I think that also goes a long way to show your interviewer that you really are invested, you really do want this job. It makes you seem really authentic and curious, and that's a fantastic thing. When I was a hiring manager and I knew people spent the time, it was obvious. And it was really obvious the people that learned the bare minimum before they came into the interview, because they usually said something that didn't make any sense that they would have known with 30 seconds of Googling. Are you ready to transition to an analyst career? Or maybe you're ready to take the next step in your own analytics career. If you want my tips for landing your next job, check out the cheat sheet that I've linked in the description box below. It'll give you the top items that you need to focus on to land your next job. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you subscribe and come back and check out our other videos. I cover everything related to careers and especially analytics and technical careers because that's where I've got experience and that's where I think we have a lot to connect on. If you want to know more about me personally and my experience, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to talk with you about how we can grow your analytics career.